What was that?
I don't know.
I thought you were like me going into a Mrs. Doubtfire impression.
I don't know what happened then. I apologise. I think it's because halfway through I thought, oh, this film's set on an island. Nick's going to say ahoy in a minute. It'll be funny. But then my hello went weird, so your hello made you laugh.
Yeah.
Apologies, everybody.
Absolutely threw
What
me
a
out
very
there.
strange way to start an episode. This is the Bottom of the Stream movie show. My name is Adam.
I thought someone might have pushed you off a cliff.
Hello.
Anyway,
You're Nick.
I'm Nick. And this is the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast.
A lot of people would have started that again, but not us.
Staying in.
Staying in. It's all staying in.
You don't get through 8 seasons of a podcast show by starting again.
It's very true.
You just plow on.
Whatever happens, stays in.
Yeah.
Cool.
All for the better.
Welcome to the movie show. This week we're doing a movie called Rose Island.
We are.
We are, indeed. It was released in 2020. It's a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 57 minutes. Rated currently at 7.0 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. 7.0?
It's high.
Really high. Too high?
It's really high.
Too high. Too long. Too long. This film stars a guy called Elio Germano. He plays Giorgia Rosa. Again, I haven't got anything on any of these people. They're just Italian actors.
Fine.
Leonardo Lidi plays Maurizio. And Matilda de Angelis plays Gabriella.
Yeah.
Written by Francesca Manieri and Sydney Sibilia. And directed by Sydney Sibilia.
Nice.
Yes, that is the facts I've got for this film.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. It is indeed. It's about a man who decides he wants to build his own island off the coast of Rimini in Italy.
Yeah.
And then does.
Sure.
Finds a way to do it and does it. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Do you have a one-word review?
Club Tropicana.
Yeah. Drinks are free.
Yeah. And I think we'll get to some of my issues with this movie.
Yeah, I've got a few.
But
I've already said one.
it
It's too
wasn't
long.
what I expected. It was
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it was what I expected either.
higher on whimsy than I expected.
Yeah.
I quite like a bit of whimsy, but that's not what I was expecting from this.
No, I know what you mean. It wasn't what I was expecting either, I don't think.
It was lighter. I wasn't expecting it to be so light and almost fluffy.
Fluffy's a good word. That would have been a good one-word review.
Yeah.
Yep, but like we say, we don't go back and do things again.
No.
So. Where does this film start, Nick?
This film starts in the snow
It does.
in Strasbourg.
Strasbourg.
in
We know
France.
this because it says it on the screen.
Yeah, we
Strasbourg.
do trot around Europe a fair bit.
Yeah, there's
don't
quite
we?
a few different cities in this. First thing it says is based on a true story. Then it says Strasbourg, and then there's a man driving driving a car in the snow.
Yeah.
He gets to what looks to be an important building over it.
Yes, a big office.
Yes, a big open office block. Parks next to a very unusual looking car that looks like it's been there for a while. It's covered in snow. And he walks into the huge
Marble floored
foyer.
columns. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going for some sort of stylistic vibe.
One
to this,
little
aren't there?
reception desk in the middle.
Tiny little reception. It reminded me of what's the director who Bill Murray always works with?
Wes Anderson.
Yeah, it reminded me of that sort of vibe to me.
Yeah.
Did you not think?
I can see that.
Yeah, I think
I can see that.
quite a bit of this film does.
Yeah.
It's definitely his influences.
Certainly in this sort of what we later learn to is governmental buildings.
The Council of Nations.
Yeah.
Is in Strasbourg. This
Yeah.
building is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And there's a man waiting for him.
Yeah, the man is coughing.
Yeah, the man appears to be very ill.
He does.
And he's waiting for them. He's waiting for this important man who's just arrived to read a file. We're told this by the security guard who's manning the reception desk. And the security guard says to the man, "Look, this guy's been waiting for you for days now.
Yeah.
He's been here for days. He's coughing up the place. He's brought a file. He's claimed to be a head of state.
Yeah, and he wants you to read
And he
it.
wants you to read this file." So to humour the man, he takes the file and takes it into his office.
He says to this official says to the security guard, doesn't he? Oh, make a big deal of it.
Yeah,
Let's
give me the
laugh
file.
about
Yeah.
it. And I would go, oh, I'm taking this file to my office to read
and
straight
then I'll
to it.
basically just chuck it in the bin when I get there. So he goes to his office and he does read this file.
Curiosity. This is not a busy man.
No, it doesn't appear to be a busy man.
He throws the file in the bin, and then 30 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, I actually haven't got anything to do. Maybe I will read it."
He's the man who deals with conflicts between heads of state.
Yeah,
which doesn't feel like it would be a very busy job. I mean, obviously now it is, but at certain points in history, there's not a big busy man, I don't think. And he reads this file, and then he begins to panic quite quickly and rushes back out to the foyer.
Yeah.
Because he desperately needs to speak to whoever this man is. But he's already gone. But then they bring him back.
They do.
And they bring him back for this interview. And this man says, "I want you to save my island."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to 1 year earlier.
Bologna.
And we meet the same man. We learn now that this is Giorgio,
Yep.
our main character in this film. And he's out drinking with some friends.
He is.
They've just qualified as engineers, I think. Just passed some sort of course.
Yeah.
And they're celebrating. They're out drinking. They're singing silly songs. And
They're doing like dares, aren't they?
yeah.
Got to go and talk to girls.
Yeah, he gets dared to talk to a
Things
girl.
like
But coincidentally, the girl he gets told to go and talk to
It's
is
his bloody ex-girlfriend.
bloody
isn't it?
ex-girlfriend, which was quite easy. And then he kind of breaks away from his friends at that point and takes her for a drink.
Yeah, and I know this is a really minor detail, so it is a nitpick. But I'm like, he's there with his friends on like a boozy celebratory night.
Yeah.
She's walked into this bar.
Yeah, with her friends.
Presumably with other people.
Yeah, there was a couple of girls behind her, I think.
And then it's just like, oh no, they've just
they literally ditch everybody else.
And for the convenience of this plot.
Yes, to go and
have a chat
with your ex.
To give us some exposition.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they do. They go for a drink. She explains that she's just split up with her current boyfriend.
They're on a break.
They're on a break.
Essentially what I got from it.
Yeah, this is where I figured out that she was his ex. I didn't get that to start with. They do start having a bit of an argument.
Well, because she says, Giorgio says, "How long have you been with Carlo?"
Yes.
She says, "About 3 years." And he says, "Oh, that's interesting. That's about how long we were together."
Yeah.
You bitch.
Basically, yeah. So they do have a bit of a row, and he agrees to drive her home. So she's been out for about half an hour, I think, on this night out she was having.
Yeah, the time's a bit skew.
It is a little bit. So he agrees to drive her home in his car that he's made.
He's
got a homemade car.
It was for his university course, wasn't he? He had to build a something for his engineering project.
Yeah.
He's built this car with it's got almost like a fighter plane.
Yeah, cockpit
lid, hasn't it? And
he's made it from his grandma's couch.
Yeah, but then he's like, I ran out of money for the seat, so I just borrowed my grandma's settee.
She didn't need it. She's dead. It was revealed at this point that they split up because being with him was risky.
He's a loose cannon.
He's a loose cannon, yeah. He's flamboyant. He's
head in the clouds.
He doesn't really follow any rules. Yeah. He just does what he wants, which is evidenced in the next scene when the police pull him over in this car. And he reveals to the police when he gets out of the car, he's like, I don't have a license or any registration for this vehicle. And I'm also drunk.
Yeah.
There's words that come out of his mouth. It's revealed at this point that he has a criminal record as well. He was arrested for flying on a plane without a license.
Yeah, he's built a plane.
He's built a plane. So he's banned from flying.
And his argument is basically like, well, look, it's not connected. That was a crime in the sky.
Yeah.
This is on the ground. So don't worry about it.
Doesn't really understand the rules of the world. And he doesn't need to register this car because he built it himself.
Yeah.
That's his argument. Has no license plates on it or anything. So the police try and impound it. They can't get it going. It's a bit of there's a bit of a knack to driving it, I think. Yeah. He tries to get them to stop trying to knacker his car, basically. And he eventually gets arrested.
Yeah, and we cut to Giorgio sitting in the cells. And can I just pause the plot recap at this point to ask, did you even like Giorgio?
No.
Me neither. And do you know why? I think because we were supposed to go, oh, this guy's a lovable rogue.
Yeah.
No respect for authority. But I'm not, fine, that's fine to a degree. But for me, it came off really annoying because this guy was just, I was with her, Yeah. This guy's just a dick. Like, he doesn't listen to anyone. You've got to, I understand, look, the world's not perfect. Yeah, it'd be great to go and escape out and do your own thing. But you can't just, he's dismissive of everyone.
Yeah, completely.
He's
completely
so
focused on himself.
Blinkered, isn't he? Yeah, and it came across as, I felt he came across as really self-centered, and I didn't have much sympathy for the guy.
I agree.
To be honest,
I honestly think
and I don't think that was the intention.
I think the weak point of this movie is the characters. I don't think many of the characters I've had much. I don't have any relationship with any of them really. When they're all, I'll give a spoiler to the end, but they're all standing together at the end. I'm like, I don't really care. I don't know enough about some of you. I don't have any relation. One of you's really irritating as well.
There are things I like about this movie. Some things
same.
I like quite a lot. It is not I agree. The characters aren't a strong point of this movie.
They're certainly not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're based on real people, so we can't slate it too much. But
no, but
you've got to.
Giorgio feels like a caricature.
Yes,
not
definitely.
a character.
Definitely.
We'll
meet some of the others as we go through. We'll meet some of the others as we go through. But eventually, he gets arrested. He gets eventually gets bailed by his dad. His dad goes to pick him up.
His dad basically says, "Why can't you be normal?"
He tells him to stop being weird.
Yeah,
which I quite like. His dad was a really good character. Now we've just slagged off characters. I did quite like his dad. Maybe we're getting old. Maybe we're just sympathising with the dads these days. Maybe if we'd done this 20 years ago, we'd have been right on his side. Then he just goes and interrupts a class that Gabrielle is teaching. She's a lawyer, but I think she's also like a trainee lecturer. She's an expert in international laws, which is quite helpful for the plot. And he goes and interrupts her class, and she cuts it short. She's only been there 10 minutes, and she just leaves with him. Because basically,
she's really angry at him. She's like, "You got us arrested."
Yeah, I've been arrested.
Exactly what
training
I was
to be a
talking
lawyer.
Yeah.
You've got me arrested last night, and that's not on.
She's still got blue on her fingerprint.
Yeah, she's still got the fingerprint ink. That's quite difficult to say. She's really, really angry. She's like, "I can't have a criminal record. I'm training to be a lawyer. This is not what you did last night. Was not on." And she's like, "You live in your own world." And he's like, "I don't live in my own world, but I could.
I could build one.
And then she's
they
like,
have quite a big fight.
They do in the foyer. And
Talking of fighting,
yeah.
Why don't boxers have sex the night before a fight?
I don't know. Why don't boxers have sex the night before a fight?
Because they don't really like each other.
That's fantastic. That's actually a really good joke.
Carry.
Nick's dad joke segment is growing legs. He's just interrupting the show for a minute. That's great. I like that. I've lost where I am now. Oh yeah, she's like, "You can't build your own world. You are not a genius."
Yeah,
that's what she said. That's how the scene ends. She storms off and leaves him standing. And then we cut to Imola.
Sure, the racetrack.
And he kind of works there. He's an engineer, so he's working with it's motorbike racing.
Yeah,
he's working with a team of motorbike racers.
And it turns out later on, and I feel like maybe there's a deleted scene here because his dad also works for Ducati.
Yes.
So I think.
Yeah, maybe I hadn't picked that up, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think Giorgio is taking a sort of entry type position.
Yeah.
In the company, and he's on the race team.
He is. And he's told to go out onto the track to give some instruction to the driver that's going around, or the rider. But he gets distracted because he's very self-centered and only thinks about himself. And he goes out into the centre of the track. He's got this blackboard where he's going to show the riders speed up or something.
Yeah. Go faster.
Go faster. Start winning, please. And he notices an advert for an oil rig.
Yeah.
Or an oil platform.
It's an oil company.
Yeah. There's a picture on there
of a platform
of an oil rig, and he has a brainwave, and he completely misses what he's supposed to do.
He drops instead of holding up the chalkboard, it sort of falls to his side.
Yeah, so the rider doesn't see it. The rider can see something, so he kind of turns his head and eventually crashes his motorbike and ends up going up in a ball of flames. And then walks up behind Giorgio and smacks him in the face with his helmet.
Yeah, it was funny.
Again, it felt very slapsticky.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Rimini. And we meet a new man. We've not met any of the people in this scene before. This is Maurizio.
I think he was in the bar, right?
Yes, he was.
Bologna.
Sorry, you're right. He was in the group of friends at the start. Maurizio and his father own a company.
I think it's like a shipping
something
yard
like
or
that.
Something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's useful to know someone who has access and.
So far we've met two of his friends. One's an international lawyer.
Yeah, which might come in handy.
And this man runs a shipping yard.
Definitely will come in handy.
But it's a true story, so I'm assuming these people are all real. And his dad and Maurizio are accusing a couple of workers of stealing money from the safe.
Yeah.
and they're going to fire these people
there's
for
like
doing that.
700,000 lira gone missing.
It's quite a lot of money, I would imagine. I don't know why the police haven't been called, but they haven't.
It's the 60s. It was different then.
Giorgio turns up again at Maurizio's work and just cuts this meeting short. He's really good at people just drop everything for him for some reason.
And we get a bit of a montage where they're researching platforms.
Yeah, he tells him his plan. He's like, I feel like we should need to build this island.
How are they built?
Yeah, how are they built? What? He basically says to Maurizio, we need to build this thing. Mauricio's like, cool, sounds fun, let's do it. Then they do a bit of a research. And when to
they
do
go
it,
and dive, don't they? They
do. Yeah.
There's a platform being built offshore, so they like sneak along and dive down
to see how they're built. What the
except Giorgio doesn't. He never gets his hands dirty.
No, never
all
once.
His friends
Never once. They figure out how far off it's got to be 6 miles off the coast.
Yeah.
They figure out where they can put it.
And Maurizio's like, it's too expensive. If we wanted to build this, we'd need
100
million lira.
And we also would need to figure out how to make steel float.
Yeah.
Which is not an easy thing.
Yeah, because how do we transport it out to the...
And then as they were figuring out how to make steel float, a massive shipping container boat drives past.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's made of steel. That's floating. There must be a way to do this. And then this film doesn't hang around with any of the detail either. It's like...
No.
They have an idea.
Engineering and science be damned.
Yeah, 100%. Completely, these are engineers. They have an idea to get some hollow steel pipes, because they do it in the bath, don't they? They've got some like a mock-up, and take the end off, which would cause it to fill with water and sink to the bottom, but stand up.
Yeah.
So that's how you do your stilts on cheap, because it was the concrete injection that would have cost more.
Yeah.
So that's what they do, basically. Maurizio, turns out he's the guy stealing money from his dad, steals 700,000 lira from his dad, and they tow some massive pipes out into the middle of the ocean.
Yep.
Again, not hanging around.
Seems very unscientific how they position them.
Yeah, they're just... Yeah. They're just there. They just stop the boat and they're like, right, we'll build it here.
Yeah.
But I suppose all the ocean's the same, isn't it? It's not like you'd have to look at the seabed and see where and how deep is it.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't feel like it was very deep at this point. But anyway, they do. So Maurizio dives into the water, takes the end off one of these pipes, which causes it to fill with water and sink to the bottom of the ocean.
And he kind of rides it.
He does kind of ride it, because you've got to be careful, because he could have been sucked up inside it and that would have been the end of him. And Giorgio thinks that's what's happened to him at one point, but he's just like, oh, now what am I going to do?
I need someone else to help me.
Yeah, where's my best mate's just died? Oh, shit. And then suddenly we have a whole platform.
Yeah.
It's built. It's done. This film isn't about the building of this platform, for definite, because it's there.
Yeah, it's just a platform.
It's a concrete 400
it's
meters
a flat
400 square meter concrete base just above the ocean.
There's no structure on it.
No, nothing on it at all at the moment. Only an umbrella. They realise for it to become one of these little rules, for it to become an independent state, it needs to have water, drinking water. So they start drilling.
And Giorgio, because we cut back to him sort of telling the story to the European Council, and they sort of said, well, did no one stop you? And he says, well, no one even bothered us until we got the drill out.
Yeah.
And then we cut to them drilling for water.
Yeah, they're drilling through the ocean, because presumably there's fresh water under the ocean somewhere. So they're drilling, and the Coast Guard show up, because the Coast Guard have spotted this construction.
Yeah.
And they think it's a pirate radio station.
Yeah, I think it's a mast.
Yeah, they think it's a radio mast.
This was quite a funny exchange.
This is the first time it was funny.
I
think this was the first, because anybody who's an official in this movie is played in a slapstick way. Yeah. All the ministers that turn up later on,
inept or frustrated, or like is surrounded by ineptitude.
Yeah, it is, and they're the people that were going for the laughs.
Yeah.
Our main characters are not doing this to be funny, but everybody, all the official characters around them are.
Yeah.
So the Coast Guard show up. They say, "Look, you can't broadcast out here." He's like, "We're not broadcasting. It's a drill." And the Coast Guard are like,
"Yeah, we're looking for water."
Fair enough.
And the guy comes out of the cab in the boat and says, "Are you telling me there's not a radio?" Georgia says, "Yep, telling you it's not a radio." Coast Guard goes, "Well, carry on."
Fair enough. See you later. Yeah. Never see the Coast Guard again. Then, as that scene ends, they strike fresh water somehow. I presume under the ocean there is fresh water.
Shoots out of the derrick, doesn't it?
The derrick. Good name. And Giorgio's like, well, he's getting late. Giorgio and Maurizio are like, right, we should probably go now. Giorgio's like, I'm going to spend my first night on the island.
It's
you
nice.
can go.
It's a nice day.
It's a lovely day. The sun's out. I've got a parasol.
Yep.
I'm going to sit here on my deck chair under my parasol, spending my first night on our island.
So I've got water, I've got coffee. What more do I need?
What more do I want? And Maurizio's like, fair enough, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Leaves him there. And then it starts to rain.
Of course it does.
Just a few little drops to start with. He gets under his parasol. Then it cuts to a massive thunderstorm that's happening.
The umbrella shoots off into the sky.
Yeah, loses his brolly.
There are huge waves crashing over the side of this platform.
Yeah. Some of the CGI's shoddy in this movie.
Yeah, because even when they're just in the sunshine standing on the platform, you can really tell it's green screen.
Yeah. At no point did I ever believe they were in the ocean.
No.
Let's put it that way. There's a lot of green screen work going on here. Whilst this storm's kicking off in the middle of the night, a man on a boat shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is this thing? Because also, there's no lights on this thing. No. This man could have easily just crashed into this thing. And he's like, come aboard. And then we cut back to
I thought the guy on the boat
was going to rescue him.
He's like, no, I need help. My boat's in trouble. So this guy on the boat ends up getting out onto the island.
He does, and he becomes the island's first official resident.
Yeah, this is Pietro.
We cut to the courtroom, and they're explaining what's going on. This whole movie is Giorgio telling this story in this courtroom. Well, most of it is. And yeah, he becomes the first official resident.
Amazingly, coincidentally, and usefully, turns out Pietro is a welder.
Yes, how helpful.
Another very key skill you may need if you're building an island.
So while we're in this courtroom, they introduce Pietro as the first resident of the island. And then they say the second resident of the island was Wolfgang Rudi Neumann.
Yeah.
A Neumann, they should have called him. He's a horrendous character. And then
I didn't mind Neumann
I just
so much.
didn't like him. Something about him I just didn't like. We get the backstory of this guy. He's basically
He's a deserter.
Yes.
From the German
army. He's a German deserter who has
Second World War.
taken a job promoting club nights on an island somewhere.
Yeah, he's basically the
club promoter.
60s equivalent of those dudes who give out flyers on
basically.
Falaraki strip or whatever.
Yeah, basically, he's a club promoter. He gets people into nightclubs. This is his expertise. He doesn't have a passport. He doesn't have a residency.
Yeah, he's not a citizen of anywhere.
He is also the toilet cleaner in this club he works in.
And he overhears people talking about this island.
Yeah, he overhears the story of this Rose Island, or not even Rose Island yet, this island that's been built. And the place doesn't have a name. And he turns up on this island.
Yeah, we cut to him
just being there now.
Giorgio Maurizio
on this island. He's like, we need to market this place.
Yeah.
It's in international waters. There's no laws. There's no drinking laws. Get people out here having parties. So that's what they do.
He sets up day trips. And we cut to that happening. And suddenly people are
having parties on this island.
Paying to get ferried out there for the day.
Yeah. Which we're then told at this point that this came at the perfect time in the history, because this is 1968 when loads of riots were going on across Europe.
Yeah.
Paris was being burnt to the ground.
Yeah. There's a bit of a student uprising in Italy.
Yeah.
This movie plays the absolute minimum lip service to
detail.
As in, it really felt like it could have done more profound. That's why I'm saying at the start, I'm surprised how light it was. I thought we'd get more on sort of this is a place where people can feel free, not oppressed, and because all of this is happening in the real world. But it's literally 20, 30 seconds on.
If that.
This is how bad things were in Europe at the time.
Yep. So basically, it's a place for people to come and escape the woes of the world.
Yeah.
It needs a name. They give it a name. They call it Rose Island. And it needs its own language. For some reason. So they choose Esperanto.
Yeah.
That will be our language, our official language of the island. And it's hitting big in the media. The media are really going off on this.
Montage.
Yeah, we do.
The headlines.
Spinning headlines.
Yeah. Newspapers from all over Europe, German, UK, all over. It's in the headlines, this place.
But then the cracks start to form in the relationships between these founding people. Maurizio is annoyed about the name of the island. He wanted it to be called the Island of Maurizio and Giorgio. Which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, he's annoyed he doesn't really get on with Wolfgang Rudi Neumann.
Neumann.
Rudy, they call him all the way through from now on, I think.
But again, it's kind of this issue's introduced, isn't it? How Maurizio, who I think to be fair, he has got a point.
Yes,
he did just as much, if not more,
if
to
not
make
more.
this.
Yeah, Giorgio had the idea.
Happen.
Maurizio did and funded it.
Yeah, everyone sort of, just like you said, bows to Giorgio.
Yeah,
but we don't really see that magnetism on display in the movie. And I think Maurizio's fair point that he feels slighted that he's Giorgio's in the headlines.
He funded it to start with. But yeah, Rudy's basically come aboard and has taken over. He's like got involved and taken over, and Maurizio takes exception to that. And then Rudy's girlfriend shows up, and she's pregnant, and she wants to be the bartender.
I think girlfriend's a stretch. I think they've had a night together.
Yes, okay. Rudy's made a girl pregnant, and she's now turned up and wants to live on this island and be the bartender. That's how this character's introduced.
Because remember,
she's
I think she says she's 18 or 19. Yeah. It's the 60s.
Yeah.
She's sort of saying, I'll be disowned at home. You know, there's nothing for me. I'm here because I'm not judged. It doesn't matter that I'm pregnant. And yeah.
It was a really weird way to introduce a character that's just there now for the rest of the film. Then in the next scene, Gabriella's on the island. Remember Gabriella? She was Giorgio's girlfriend. She's come over to the island
she's getting married,
just to tell him.
Wind him up.
Yeah, just to wind him up, basically. She's like, I'm getting married. I'm going to go now. Bye. Yeah. That's basically what that whole scene was.
And to say, because Giorgio's like, oh, well, you still get married, even though I've created this country, this state.
I've created this world for you.
Yeah, and she just says, it's not a country. It's just a beach club.
That's exactly what she says. It's not a world. It's a beach club. And it is. It's basically what it is. It's not an independent state. Giorgio, therefore, because he does everything Gabriella wants him to do, he's like, we need to move forward on making this an independent state.
He does, but it's just, again, it's really coincidental timing, because he literally finishes a conversation with Gabriella. He walks down the stairs, and Rudy and Maurizio are having this argument about whether they should have a poker tournament or a water skiing competition.
Yeah.
And Giorgio's like, hell yeah, we have. We've just made Tropicana.
Yeah, basically. So we need to move forward on making this island an independent state. All we need is a government.
Yeah.
So he assigns people jobs. He takes the role of president himself. I think Maurizio was made secretary. Pietro was like head of security.
Yeah.
They all got roles. And then we follow a package that's been sent to the UN in New York.
Yeah.
Cut to the UN. It's basically a mirror of the first scene. They read this file and suddenly
it's got the flag.
Yeah.
It's got the details of the island.
Everything they need, they've done. So the UN get all excited as well, and they send some people over to check it out, basically. A couple of suits take a trip on the party boat.
Yeah.
So you basically got that scene that you get in a lot of these movies where there's loads of like half-naked teenagers dancing around on this boat.
Yeah, the suits are from the Italian government, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And then just two men just sitting on this boat in full on dressed in suits. Then we cut to Roma.
We do.
And we meet the Italian government, basically.
Yes, the president holding his cabinet.
Yeah. And these are the comedy sidekick characters in this movie. So. The government were all treated. They weren't treated well by this movie.
And again, they're talking about like the student uprising, how they feel like the younger population of the country is starting to get out of control.
But all they want to do is break for lunch.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all they're talking about is what do we do for lunch? And just before they do break for lunch, the Internal Affairs Minister, I don't think he's ever named, but if he is, I have missed it because he's just known as the Internal Affairs Minister. He tries to bring up the fact that Rose Island exists.
Yeah, but he's like
to the president. No, he's really downplaying.
We'll do it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Don't worry. He's really downplaying it as if it's not a big deal. But I couldn't decide if he didn't think it was a big deal. Or he thought it was a big deal, he just didn't want to bring it up.
I thought he did. I took from it he didn't think it was a big deal.
Okay. I thought it was the other way.
But then he got stuck in this back and forth with the president. He was like, no, you started. Tell me.
Tell me.
Yeah.
What? We'll just wait. Yeah. It's fine. He does reveal the news. It turns out it's quite big news because all the other ministers sit back down at the table. And it's revealed that it's big news because he's like, oh, somebody from the UN called. It wasn't anybody important. Yeah. It's just a secretary. And the president's like, well, secretary of what? And he's like, Secretary General? As if like that's not the man who runs the UN.
And the president's like, so you're telling me we didn't know about this island until the UN called us?
Called us and told us about it. And the Internal Affairs Minister's like, it's okay, I've sent 2 guys over.
Yeah.
They'll report back. When did you send them over? 2 days ago. I haven't heard from them since.
Yeah.
They're basically vanished.
I quite like the line. He says, "Oh, yeah, it was 40 hours ago. If they've not reported in by the end of the day, we're going to have to tell their families they're missing."
Yeah, it just felt really goofy. But then handily, in the next scene, they do report in. They call in straight away. Turns out they've been a little bit taken in by the island.
Yeah.
They are drunk on the phone to this guy. One of them says he's cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
It's hasn't gone according to plan for the Internal Affairs Minister. Let's put it that way.
News report.
News report.
We've not had a news report for ages.
Do you remember we used to get bottom of the stream news reports all the time? It's just a convenient way to tell a story.
But this is how Giorgio's parents find out about his newfangled fame.
Yeah, they didn't even know he'd got this island.
Yeah. His name's up in lights, not Maurizio. It's just Giorgio's.
In a bad way, though, because the Italian nation are not accepting this, and they are concerned by the safety of the people on this island.
Yeah, the government's line is, well, look, they may be in international waters, but they're still Italian citizens.
Yes.
And we've got a right to look. We've got a right to and a requirement to look after the safety of our citizens.
Yes, that's what the news report's all about. Cut back to the island, and they have a mail bag that's got hundreds of letters in, which are applications for citizenship.
Indeed.
Giorgio then leaves the island. I think this might be the first time he left the island since it was built, I think.
Yeah.
And he goes to dinner with his parents because we've introduced these characters now. We probably need to build a relationship here. He tries to explain it to them. He tries to explain what's happening, why he's doing what he's doing. His father's got concerns of the legality of it all, but Giorgio knows what's going on. But they won't visit. They basically...
No, he says, come and give it a chance. Let us come and see what I built. And he really wants to show it off. He wants to win his father's respect, doesn't he? Yeah. But his father's just like, no, we're not.
Your mother needs a nap.
Yeah.
Then the 2 guys, the 2 suits from the Secret Service show up to chat to him, the 2 guys that were on the island earlier. They show up to have a chat with him while he's off the island. They issue him with a cease and desist. To try and buy him off, don't they?
They give him an offer,
They offer him 2 beach
club.
Leave
the island,
permits.
you can have 2 permits.
2 permits to run a beach club.
Yeah.
Which would make him a multimillionaire. Beach clubs were the thing. And they actually say you'll be set for generations.
Yeah.
So he's going to make a lot of money. But Giorgio just walks away from them.
He does.
Doesn't even answer them. He just walks away. That night, they have a meeting on the island, a government meeting. The island is closed for the night. There's no party on there this evening. And they declare that everyone who wants citizenship on the island will be granted it tomorrow. So they're literally going to accept every application.
Fit 300 people on this island.
No, they're never going to do it, but they're going to accept every application they've been given. And they give Rudy the first passport.
Yeah, issued by Rose Island.
So he becomes the first official member of the nation, I guess. Then we cut to the Vatican.
We do. and the president is meeting a cardinal.
Yes.
Who says he's had to intercept the day's newspaper because there's an ass on it.
Yeah, there's an ass on the front page, and the Pope can't see an ass. He goes on about this ass for ages.
I know. It's just a woman in a bikini overlooking the island. Yeah. With the headline, Party Island off the coast of Rimini.
Yeah, so the Cardinal's not happy. The Cardinal's a goofy character as well.
Yeah.
They're all like goofy characters. Yeah. He's not happy that he's had to do this, and he wants the president to solve the problem, basically.
It's just a little problem. It needs to be solved before the Pope has the chance to see it.
Get the asses out of the paper. So we follow the president for a little bit. He goes back to his office. When he gets back to his office, his table's covered in letters.
Yeah.
Same as the Rose Island was earlier. Now these are applications to rescind the citizenship of Italy from 300 people. And the Italian internal affairs guy, he's trying to play it down again, isn't he?
It's like, yes, you can't just do that.
You can't just do that. It's not legal. America's had a few as well. Yeah. France has had a few. The United Kingdom's had a couple. But we've had 300. And he says to the president's like, you need to sort this.
Yeah.
Whatever means necessary, sort it, because the Pope's getting involved, and I don't want that. He's really pissed. I keep calling him Prime Minister. He's not. He's a president, and he's really pissed. And so they start using dirty tactics.
Yeah.
So we cut to Giorgio's dad at work. Gets called into the office. Yeah. Presumably he gets fired.
Because there's a man in a suit
standing
next to the boss of the motorcycle factory.
He loses his job. So basically, everybody else, Giorgio was made his offer.
Yeah.
Everybody else has also been made an offer, we find out at this point. But they have like a meeting on the island again, don't they?
Yes. They do.
They do.
Because the weather started to turn. Summer's coming to the end.
That's what it says. It says winter is falling on the island. Winter is falling on the island. So they have a meeting. Everybody's been made an offer. The pregnant girl's been made an offer. Rudy's been made an offer. Even Pietro's been made an offer. And they're all like, we can't do what we do over the winter. And
I think Rudy says, we'll just shut it down. We'll come back in.
Yeah, but Giorgio's like, this is
whatever.
a nation. It's not a beach club. This is a nation. We can't just shut it down. So it's all starting to fall apart slowly.
Maurizio's not had an offer.
No.
Because we later found out the government just think, well, that guy's an alcoholic. There's no, we don't need to worry about it.
It's harsh.
And he's like, well, where's mine? No one's offered me a bribe to leave.
Giorgio goes to visit his parents. This is where he finds out that his dad's lost his job.
He doesn't apologise.
He doesn't apologise. His dad doesn't ask him to apologise.
No, he doesn't.
His dad's actually, this is the first time his dad's actually proud of him because he's like, Giorgio explains to him what he's been offered, and his dad says, "Turn it down. Say no. Fight the man." Basically, the man. I worked for the man for 40, 50 years. Look where it's got me.
But it is Giorgio's fault.
Oh, 100%. It's Giorgio's fault. He's like, "Fuck the man. Fight the man.
No.
Carry on with your island." This is the first time his dad's been proud of him, really. Then this is the point where this guy really pisses me off. Giorgio goes into a cinema where Gabriella is watching a film with her fiance.
Yes.
And just basically interrupts everybody's enjoyment of whatever film they're watching. Moves people out of the way so he can go to the next one, and then just has a full-on conversation with her. And I'm like, yeah, you're done. I'm done.
Yeah, because he needs her help as a lawyer.
Yeah. So, but he just has... I found a subreddit on Reddit recently, and it's called I Am the Main Character. Yeah. And it's just videos of people just like being really inconsiderate to everybody around them because they're the main character in life. And it's exactly what this guy felt 100%, like to me. 100%, yeah. He's like, he has no consideration to everybody else. Yeah. So he interrupts her in this. She eventually takes him outside. He needs a lawyer. She is a lawyer. She says, I don't want to be your lawyer. You need to go to the Council of Nations in Strasbourg and they will help you out.
She says they're not specifically worried about your island. They're worried about copycats.
Yeah, people.
The precedent that you this could set if they agree to you, or to confirming you as a independent state.
And he says, "Will you come with me?" And she says, "No, you can't even go. A normal person can't just go to the." And he's like, "I'm not a normal person. I'm a head of state." So this is their. He then steals his car back from the impound lot, which he'd left for weeks now. And he steals some license plates for it from another car so he doesn't get pulled over again, and just drives to Strasbourg. Yeah. And that's basically catches us up with the beginning of the film. Because it even says at this point, that's how I ended up here, tells the court.
And they've heard his case. Yeah, that lines up with and the framing was quite nice, to be fair. Yeah. That lines up with the end of him explaining the story to the courtroom.
So the court adjourns.
They say, right, okay, we need a couple of days. Yeah. You'll have an answer within 48 hours, I think they say.
Yeah, absolutely. We then cut back to the Internal Affairs Minister congratulating his two suits for solving his problem, basically. They assume that Giorgio's
going to... They've taken care of everyone apart from Giorgio. Everyone's accepted the offer.
Yeah. But then it's revealed that Giorgio is at the Council of Europe, and it sounds like they're going to back him. Yeah. Which is not a good thing. The Prime Minister... Well, I think... fucking President's head about explodes at that point.
Yeah, because the Italian government were expecting it to just be dismissed, and they hear, oh no, actually, for the last day, they've been sat in session listening to his case.
And they feel like they're going to side with them at this point. The man from the Council of the Nations is very excited. He comes out all agitated and excited from this hearing.
He kind of says, doesn't he? Oh, regardless of if you win or not, the fact that you've been heard is amazing. It's a step forward. It's you should be so proud.
Yeah.
And again, everyone's sort of like fawning over this guy, and it just didn't come across.
Like a lovable
it didn't
rose.
Come through the screen.
It didn't. I agree. I don't think it did at all. And then the phone rings.
Yeah.
And this phone call is the beginning of the end for Rose Island. It's the Minister of Internal Affairs from Italy. He's rang the Council of Nations, which isn't the same thing as the United Nations, apparently. He wants to talk to Giorgio. He talks to Giorgio. He calls him a miserable piece of shit.
Yeah, it escalated fast.
Very quickly.
To a really bitter
this guy was not happy,
didn't
was he? And he basically threatens the safety of the island.
Yeah.
He's like,
I can put on quite the fireworks display.
yes, is what he says.
Yeah.
And he says to Giorgio, "You're nothing but an anarchist."
He does.
And Giorgio says to him, "Look, they're going to hear my case. They're going to go for me. They're going to go in my favour here.
Yeah.
You're fucked,"
Yeah.
he says to the minister. And that's when the threat to the island comes out. And Giorgio puts the phone down. He's like, "I need to get back there because shit's about to go down. I need to get there." So he leaves Strasbourg. We cut to what I can only describe as a warship being prepared.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
They've gone into battle mode. Gabriella's going souvenir shopping for a wedding.
Yeah.
Apparently you have to buy an ornament when you're getting married in Italy.
Something like
I don't
that.
understand it. But while she's there,
they're in like a tourist tat shop, aren't they? That's what.
Deciding which ornament they should buy for their wedding. But she spots a silver model of the island.
She does.
That this tourist shop is selling to tourists, basically. She then meets him at his boat.
Yeah.
Giorgio's about to get on his boat to go back to the island. And Gabriella's there waiting for him. And she's like, "I'm coming with you. Let's do this. Let's save your island." I don't know why she suddenly had a change of mind.
She goes, "Oh, by the way, I've called off the wedding.
By the way, I'm not getting married anymore."
Look, yes, this was going to happen, but she's been in 3 scenes.
Yeah. In the first scene, she explained that she'd got an ex.
Yeah.
So she was not engaged at the beginning of this film.
And the last one she was engaged, the scene before that, they argued, and it's just like, why is she shouldn't... A real person doesn't act like this.
No. She wasn't engaged at the start, then she was. No, she's
I could
not
almost understand if they'd gone, I understand your cause, I'm going to come and help you. But why did they have to add I've ditched my husband and I'm coming to... I love you.
I think it's because he was boring. And they were like, "This guy's boring, Giorgio's not boring. I need to be with the fun guy," which is the guy she didn't want at the beginning, remember. So she goes to the island. They go back to the island. She sees it in the dark, which is what he wanted her to do to start with.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "It's magical at night. You need to see it at dark." And then she kisses him because it is magical at night. Because he says he built it for her, basically. Because she told him he couldn't build his own world, and he has. Then they presumably sleep together because they wake up the next morning to the sound of a boat and a helicopter.
They do.
And it's the warship. The warship has turned up at the island, and they are going to attack it. This is what's going to happen.
On the coast, there's on the mainland, there's news crews and public gathering.
Yeah,
it's generated quite the interest.
Rudy has been given a bar, it seems, in his offer that he's been made.
He's there that very morning to sign the papers.
But he keeps getting interrupted by sirens and things going past. And he's like, "What's going on outside?" And the guy, the estate agent, I assume, is going, "Oh, the government are about to blow up Rose Island."
Yeah, and it's literally like, comes across like Rudy's the only person in town who doesn't know what's going on, despite spending all of his summer on that island.
Yeah. So
again, very convenient.
He then was like, right, he goes to see Maurizio, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's chaos going on at the government building. There's people everywhere. The minister, the Italian Internal Affairs minister, goes to see the prime... Fuck, if I say prime minister once more, I'm quitting. Goes to see the president, and he wants him to sign a declaration of war. He has this form, then he's like, "Can you just sign this for me, please?" Just puts it down.
Yeah, the president's like, "I didn't tell you to invade it."
I'm not signing a war. I'm not going to war with these people. And he actually says, "Are you crazy? Have you gone crazy?" And the minister says, "You must sign this, because this place cannot be seen as an independent state. That would be terrible for this country.
So I can't fire it unless we go to war with it." Yeah.
We've got to the point. We've left it so long. We've got to the point where you have to sign this thing, and assumingly the president does sign it because of what happens next. Rudy and Maurizio meet up. They decide they need to head to the island as well.
Yeah. How can we get back there? How are we going to get past that massive warship?
Yeah,
that's the problem. I quite like this bit.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Meanwhile, on the warship, the admiral arrives. He is authorizing the attack. He's heard from the president. The attack has been authorized, and the water skiers are in the way.
Yeah, they're about to fire, but then a fleet of boats towing water skiers travels between the warship and the island.
Yes. So, and somehow the boat doesn't see that a couple of these speedboats head off to the island while the rest are being the distraction.
Yeah.
Because it's not a very good warship if you're not even spotting what's going on here. he's like, then the Admiral gets a message that like there was 2 people on the island,
They've
but now there's like 7.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? How the fuck? And blah, blah, blah. They figure out that the water skiing contest was a ruse. He's like, fire 2 warning shots into the ocean. They'll just run then. They'll leave. This will be the end of it. Meanwhile, our heroes, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've got Giorgio, Gabriella, Rudy, Maurizio, the pregnant lady, Pietro. Is that all of them?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
They all line up at the front of the island holding hands,
Yeah.
facing down this warship, basically.
They do.
They have no weapons. They have no army. They have no way to fight back. The 2 warning shots hit the ocean.
Yep.
They get wet. The splash makes them wet. But they stay standing. They are staying lined up. The Admiral says, do one more, but make it closer.
Yeah.
It's quite close. It hits the boat
It
that
does,
they all
yeah.
came in on. Blows that up. And they do get knocked off their feet, but they're not backing down. They still stand ready for whatever's coming to them. Then the Admiral says, okay, send the Navy SEALs in.
Yeah, send the
Well,
SEALs.
fucking do that in the first place. The Navy SEAls turn up on a speedboat and just arrest them all
they
and take them off
forcibly
this
remove
island.
them all. Yeah.
Yeah, but with nobody fights back. They just get taken off this island.
They're hoiked off onto the warship.
Yeah,
Get onto the warship just in time to see shots fired.
yeah, and you hear the explosion.
Yeah.
And as Giorgio turns around the corner, the island is completely engulfed in flames. It's on fire. They blow it up completely. And then he just leans on the boat watching this with Gabriella. And he apologises for something he'd done to his grandfather's TV.
Breaking her father's
grandfather's
TV or
years
something.
ago.
Like that. She says, don't worry. That's forgotten about. You've tried to change the world here.
The important thing is you change the world.
Yeah.
That's basically the end of the movie. We get a bit of like history of what happened.
What happened next?
Basically, the Council of Nations made a statement which essentially declared the island as an independent state.
Yeah.
But then they changed, the UN then changed the laws of international waters from 6 miles to 12 miles offshore for this reason. So this couldn't happen again.
Yeah, to make it a lot more difficult.
Make it a lot more difficult because the ocean's a lot deeper there.
It's harder to get out there.
To this day, it's the only invasion the Italian government has ever made.
Yeah.
They've never invaded anywhere else. And Giorgio and Gabriella spent the rest of their lives together.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the movie.
I thought what happened next bit was quite interesting.
Probably the most interesting bit.
I don't know I don't know where I stand with this. Do you know, when I was watching it and just after, I thought I quite liked it.
Yeah.
I've liked it less in the time since
I'd agree with that.
I've watched it because it's a really, like I said at the start, it's a really light, fluffy. It reminded me of a British movie that annoys me, like a Richard Curtis.
Yeah. Yeah, like Fisherman's Friends.
Hugh Grant would be in this in the 90s if this was a British movie.
100%.
And the more I've thought about it, I've liked it less since I watched it. But at the time,
it's inoffensive, isn't it? It's just it just flows over you.
Yeah.
What I would say is this is a good story and a bad movie. I think that's how I describe it.
There is a good story in it, and I think the ideology. I do, I can sympathise with the ideology, but Giorgio really annoyed me.
I think they all did. I don't think any of them were really sympathetic. I had no sympathy for any of them. I didn't care about their plight. I don't think.
Yeah.
I
felt like a missed opportunity.
It did. It felt like there's a story here that needs telling, but it's just done badly in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think the casting's that great. I don't think the writing's terrible. It's just not a good movie, but it's a good story.
I tell you what is good. Soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
60s soundtrack.
Yeah, no, it is great.
And I've got to be honest, I really wanted to go and have a couple of days on the island.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely go there if it was still a thing. 100%.
And I think the vibe was there. It did a good job of sort of more in the sort of montagey bits and I thought it did a good job of giving me the party vibe and the 60s. But a lot of that is from the soundtrack and the cinematography. This is not high for me in terms of acting, scripts.
No, I think the stories, the actual writing of the movie is terrible. Yeah. It's just it moves so quickly that it's just not. I'm not interested in it.
It moves quickly, but I think it leaves a lot of interesting bits out. So I think,
how do they build it?
Yeah,
I think that's really interesting.
But also sort of, actually think the debate that the Council of Nations must have been having must have been interesting. You could have had a bit of courtroom
drama.
Stuff.
This is a courtroom drama that isn't a courtroom drama. There's too much focus on people partying on an island.
The balance was just off.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it just didn't feel like a well-made movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a bad movie. It's a good story, but made into.
I don't know if I would say it's bad. I think it's
bad.
It's unfocused.
Yeah.
The front of house stuff is bad.
Yeah.
As in the acting, the directing, the scripts, the sort of, like you say, I like the vibe of it. I kind of like the look of it.
Yeah.
But it's not enough.
It does have a bit of a Wes Anderson vibe about it, but it doesn't need that. It felt really chintzy.
It was more chintzy than weird.
Yeah.
So it didn't have that edge of weirdness that Wes Anderson has.
No, it didn't have that. It wasn't a good version of a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
All. Just those big empty rooms and the big open corridors and things like that.
Those parts did. But
it was very chintzy.
Yeah.
It's just a bit meh.
Yeah.
7.0 on IMDb.
It's too high.
It's probably one of the highest we've done this season.
Yeah, that's way too high.
It's way too high. This is a 4.5, 5.1 at the most. What's the best thing about it?
I'll go soundtrack.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's also, I've not said it yet, it's fucking 2 hours long. It's too long. It's a 90-minute movie. It should be a 90-minute movie.
Get to the island quicker. First half an hour's wasted.
I'd done an hour and I was like, I've probably got about half an hour left. I've got another 57 minutes. I'm like, really?
Once they were on that platform,
yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot more. I think the first half an hour, there's a lot of... I think it's because I didn't like the characters, and the first half an hour is all about setting up the character. And I didn't like him.
Yeah, I just thought it felt like it was far too long for me. What would you change about it? Everything.
It's just out of balance. I don't think it knows what it wants to be. It's not a comedy. It's not a drama. It's not courtroom. It's not a... It's messy.
Yeah, it's too messy.
It's unbalanced.
I don't think there's a lot you can do to it without completely remaking it. There's not a lot you can do to tidy it up, I don't think.
Bit of a rewrite in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I wanted to like it more than I did. That's kind of where I came away from.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Stream table?
Yeah.
Where do you want me to read from? Bottom 10? Bottom half? Bottom, all of it?
Yeah, but...
I'll tell you what, shall I read up and you stop me where you want it?
Okay, let's do that. I like it when we do that.
We've not done that for a while. So currently at 16 is Smart Christmas. 15 is The Theatre of Fear, aka The Midnight Horror Show. 14 is Needle in a Time Stack. 13 is Another Round. 12 is The Mansion. 11 is The Ledge. 10 is Take the 10. That's nice.
Stop.
Okay, so we're stopping at 10.
Yeah.
So 9 is The Cleanse.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near The Cleanse. Yeah, Take the 10 feels very apt. Very similar. I have very similar feelings about these two movies, I think.
I'm sorry, I think I might have to be knocking Take the 10 out of the 10th spot.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's in the 10th spot.
This is better than that.
The Ledge.
This is better than Take the 10.
Is it better than The Ledge?
Yeah.
Is it better than The Cleanse? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I might have gone a little bit lower, but not much. So, yeah, I think I'm happy with that.
I think it sneaks into the top 10.
Just.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll stay there for very long.
I would suggest not.
10th best film of this season. Rose Island. Shall we pick next week's film?
Let's do it.
What would you like to watch next week? What sort of genre have you got in mind?
Whatever Robin gives us.
Okay. It's all on you, Robin, this week. Nick does not care.
No. I'm an open book.
Okay, I'm going to press the button. Are you ready? Go
Don't on. Press the button.
What? I'm literally just about to press the button. What's stopping you?
I would like to play my wild card.
Wild card. No way.
For the season, please.
Oh, exciting. I love wild card weeks. I'm excited for that. What are we going for?
I would like...
I'm not going to look it up. You're going to look it up for me.
To watch Tramps.
Tramps?
Yeah.
You like to watch Tramps? What do you like to watch them do? What's Tramps? I've never heard of Tramps. What is it?
It is a kind of crime heisty gone wrong type movie.
Oh, nice. Comedy.
I believe it is on the comedic side. I haven't really looked in too much detail into it. But yeah, that's what I'd like to watch, please.
Excellent. Let's watch it.
Let's see if we can get a bit of a better comedy than this week's.
Is it from 2016?
Yes.
This one.
Yes, the very same.
Shall I read the synopsis?
Please do.
It's 2016. It's a 15. It is a Netflix original as well. A young white man and woman find love in an unlikely place whilst carrying out a shady deal. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I was looking through the long list to decide what my wild card would be.
Yeah.
And I checked out a couple of trailers and I thought this one looked really good.
Excellent.
So I would like to watch Tramps. I feel like it's more in my wheelhouse than yours.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But it's my choice. So
it's described on IMDb as an adventure romance.
There you go.
An ad-rom. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So go out and watch Tramps. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Our username is the same on all three. It's at BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream.com. Nope, that's completely wrong. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you'll find every episode we've ever recorded, all the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
bed sock.
What's a bed sock?
Like socks that you wear in bed.
Just one?
Yeah. No, buy two, treat yourself.
Okay.
I mean, they probably come as a pair.
Nah.
I think the socks tend to.
Yeah.
It's because it's cold.
Funnily enough, on the merch website, you can get Bottom of the Stream socks.
I
don't know if they're bed socks.
But they just tend to be a bit fluffier.
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
Because it's cold out there tonight, man.
It's freezing. It's cold in here now as well.
Yeah.
Where did I get to? Yeah, after you've done all of that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bottomofthestream. On there, for a couple of quid every month, you'll get early access to episodes. You'll get bonus episodes. You'll get a newsletter that Nick writes every month. And if you come in at the top level, you will get a wild card, which means you can do what Nick's just done. Pick the film we're going to watch next week. And if you get the best one, we might give you a prize. And then when you've done all of that, head over to Discord. The Discord community that we're building is a fun group of fun people who will talk to you about anything, talk to you about movies, talk to you about your life, talk to you about whatever you want, play games, do watch-alongs. We've got a watch-along coming up at the end of March.
Yeah.
So join before that if you want to get involved in that. We've done an Oscar prediction game. We do all sorts of games. Loads of cool stuff going on in the Discord. The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
It sure is. Please do come and join us there. If you have also got a few seconds spare, please consider leaving us a review anywhere you can review or rate podcasts. We're on all of those places like Spotify, like Podbean, like Podchaser, like Apple Podcasts, like Pandora, and like iHeartRadio, and many, many, many more.
Many more.
Just find us. We're there. We're waiting.
We're on all of them. And if we're not, we'll find out and we'll get on all of them.
We will.
Yeah, so do all of that and then go out and watch...
Tramps.
Go out and watch Tramps.
Why are you finding Tramps so funny?
The idea of going out and watching some Tramps is what's making me laugh. Go out and watch Tramps. And we'll be back next Monday for The Wave and next Thursday for The Movie Show.
Cheers.
Bye.